Still King Von, I post up on Old Block.
Wooski, Dooski, Boosie. Y'all know how the I'm bumming. 6-0 shit, man.
It's 2-2 gang, we the motherfucking opposition. I'm so BDK, CPDK, and TYMBK. What old block, bitch, we from Street K and we bricks and EK. I'm smoking big A and trying to catch Dirk and eat.
Chicago police are trying to figure out who shot 6 people outside a funeral this afternoon.
And at first I heard like maybe 5 to 8 gunshots and called my neighbor and confirmed it. Then after that, it was just like a hailstorm of gunshots. It was at least 40 to 50 shots.
What up, gang? Back with the real. You know what's the deal. Things have been hot in Chiraq with the talk being about Quando Rondo. Now that his homie Lil Tum, who ended Von's life, is out on bail. R.I.P. Von. But in all this heat, there still is the one man that was the main op with Von while he was still living. His name is known in the trenches, and his connections run deep in the streets. He's known as King Op, FBG Wooski, and his title came with how dangerous he was to his ops like Von. Today, we're gonna dive into his life and why he's considered such a savage that strikes fear in his ops. So how does a kid coming into the world, innocent, pure, become someone that could pull the trigger without hesitation, taking a life, running the streets, and tormenting people to the point where they'd hit up a funeral to get him? Well, I asked myself the same thing, and the truth is both sad, yet kinda gains respect to see the world some are forced to grow up in. While many believe Wooski's home was always 63rd and Lawrence, he was actually from the very place that he haunted with his savagery. Him and his big bro, Big Mike, lived in Parkway Gardens, a section of Wick City and O Block. Crazy thing to note here, that plays a huge part in what molded Wooski, was that his brother was a BD and Wooski was a GD. Might seem strange from the outside, but in these streets, that's nothing new. Because Big Mike had love for his little bro Wooski, he stood as the force that kept him safe in the streets, even after linking with the other side. Wooski started clicking up with the STL EBT, who had a heavy beef with Wick City. At this point, you probably thinking why switch sides like that cause dudes don't play. Wooski from a young age was in the streets and had savage in his blood. Bro even started rocking with FBG, getting close to Duck and Tuka. RIP to them both.
Oh,
Wooski would begin adopting beef with his new associates, often targeting TYMB. He would avoid beefing with Wick City because of his brother. Really seems like even on opposite ends, their blood ties meant more than the gang code. This, however, was soon to change. Wooski was still dipping Wick City with STL, but never on Merkin. Brawls might break out, but the guns never came out. That was until him and some STL members had an altercation one time, and Reezy from Wick City would lose his life. That was already bad, but what made it worse were rumors that Wooski, very young at the time, was a trigger man. And at that point, any protection his big bro would provide was lost. He officially became a top priority for retaliation from a bunch of ops and had to move out of O Block. This would make him even tighter with STL as they took him in. Wooski would end up aiming his firearm towards the place he once lived in a feud between the two sets. Wooski never made light of the situation. In a tweet made by Wooski back then, it could be seen how serious things got. This back and forth would lead to him and King Von becoming enemies. The fire under this was fueled when Wooski was a trigger man behind the murking of Von's homie Platoon. Unable to personally catch Wooski, Von would get the next best thing at the time, Wooski's cousin Modell. The events painted a dark scene, showing just how hungry Von was for revenge. He would not only murk Modell, but leave his cousin with bullet holes. So much so that doctors said intestines fell through their hands when they picked him up. Luckily, Miles somehow survived confined to a wheelchair, but Von accomplished what he came to do. And Modell. This would set things in motion that intensified their beef even more, not only towards Von, but Wooski was out for all his ops. Wooski and STL EBT were sliding on the O, and the O was sliding back. It was an endless game of cat and mouse. Through it, Von and Wooski seemed to develop respect for each other, even as rivals. They would go back and forth on Twitter like it was nothing. It's crazy how calm and jokingly they act with so much bad intent in their mind for the other. He would tally scores in public with Von about the stats for who has the most bodies, like it was nothing. What happened next would turn things upside down. Remember Wooski's big bro, Big Mike? He would murk a dude by the name of Malcolm Stuckey with King Von in 2014. This would be the hit that got both him and Von booked with the first degree hit and 2 counts of attempted hits. This hit home for Wooski, seeing even his bro now turning against him. Wooski's heart was getting closer to human life. Wooski's ops would have a field day on his gang when he was missing in action from 2015 to 2017, having been in the pen on a gun charge. Wooski would soon get his payback upon his release. The tables were turned. It was now Von who was on the inside fighting his case. Wooski and a couple STL EBT members would catch HK, the headshot king, from the O slipping while spinning the block for ops. HK would try to run, but was murked before being able to escape, with multiple shots about his body. Wooski was out for blood, and every pull of the trigger emptied a bit of his rage and pain. Wooski was now bumped further up the priority list for his ops, and he was becoming too much of a threat that was fearless in the streets. Wooski would send hints online saying that Von was next to go.
Go that HK pack.
This attracted the attention of Von's homies, who were ready to move for Wooski for his disrespect and place the bag on his head.
You already know, man. Wooski, keep my little cousin name out your mouth. Talking about niggas ain't dying, niggas. Talking about Big Von, nigga. That's my blood, nigga.
But Wooski, being the Chirac savage he is, didn't give a damn and continued to hunt his ops, even coming to their own hood.
We out here right now. Them boys running. They running. They ain't out here. 600. They running. They some hoes on Tuka.
Bro was a different breed. Wooski was building confidence in his street authority, even going as far as claiming his invented op blocks like TYMB, O Block, and D Block.
O Block. What else? What 600 call themselves? On Tuka, we invented D Block. That goofy ass deep thing shit. What else? What else? What else y'all want to go to? You talking about? Who else want to say something? TYM, we invented that.
But this still wasn't enough torment to satisfy his hatred for his ops. In January 2018, he dropped a video for the diss track Computers Remix.
Smoking big A in traffic, trying to catch Durka, eat slide on new ski, 80s, 30 spray, you died a new ski way.
The track shot up to popularity, highlighting Wooski over the beat, disrespecting fallen homies, and violating his ops and rapping about hits he's done. This only incited more rage, and his ops wasn't gonna stand for it. They would slide on Mob Dusky the man, leaving him in a pool of blood with a shot to the head. Dusky was well respected and connected in the streets, and Wooski's ops knew how much he meant to him. The plot that nearly claimed Wooski's life was set in motion. Dusky's funeral created the perfect opportunity for Get Back in full effect, but Get Back was on the minds of both sides because Wooski's crew was heated over Dusky's hit. The clock was ticking, but Von and them wasn't playing around. They had everything mapped out and was so confident in their retaliation that Von and E-Dog FaceTimed Wooski the day before the funeral and promised they had a surprise for him.
Listen, we gon' surprise. It's time about tonight. We gon' surprise, bro.
The day arrived, and Wooski's ops made good on their promise. All hell broke loose. October 2018, bullets were rained down on the funeral, and Wooski would collect a shot to the head. Rugal, who was present, would describe the chaotic scene.
To be honest, I kind of felt like something, you know what I'm saying, funny was gonna happen on some real shit. Just off the strength, like, that's Dusky, like, yeah. Whenever you mention Dusky, you better mention the movie. Folks know.
We've learned a little bit more about the victims this afternoon. There were a total of 6 people who were shot outside the church. It was a pandemonium, a scene of pandemonium right after that happened. Many of those people who were shot were leaving a funeral inside the church.
That shit so fucked up. Oh my God, they shot this man in his head. Shot him in the head, G. At the fucking funeral. Oh my God.
By some miracle, Wooski would survive, but Von was still rejoicing, finally catching him lacking.
You see him? I'm finna follow him. I ain't gonna lie, he ain't been the same. He don't talk shit no more, nothing, I don't know what the fuck.
The talk was that Wooski had been taken out, but Duck, Wooski's close homie, would dispel all rumors of Wooski's demise. Wooski was a fighter for real, and during rehab to regain his motor skills, his health deteriorated, but getting back to his old self.
Billy Kyle's at your cheating ass, man.
What you mean? Ah, fuck, I'm cheating. Ah, what you mean? What makes you think I'm cheating?
Before long, he was on his feet turning up with the gang. Sadly, Von would lose his life on November 6, 2020 in an altercation with Quando Rondo. Wooski wasted no time dissing his op as a send-off to his grave.
You say who that is in my blunt? A whole lot of Parkway Garden ass niggas.
Wooski has been laying low since, trying to make a full recovery. After all, he took a shot to the head. It's crazy he's still even functioning back to normal. This near-grave experience hasn't stopped him from still being on his dirt. He recently got right back to things, dropping tracks against his ops. One thing for certain, he's earned his street cred. It might lead to his end, but his title as King Op isn't trolling nor capping. Could only wish the best for him in the streets and that he chooses to pursue music fully and leave a street life behind. Nothing but losses in that life, man. Until the next one, be safe, y'all. I'm out.